Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Special Economic Zones. In today's episode, we will cover what industries are allowed in a special economic zone. And that answer is, or the answer to that question is a bit of a trick question, and that is it depends. It depends on the policy objectives of a government and why they brought in special economic zones. And importantly, special economic zones are a designated area where special incentives and special trade laws apply to that specific area. So they're geographically bound. Now, in terms of what is allowed, in the past, particularly, and I should have mentioned in other episodes where zones are called different things: free trade zones, free zones, enterprise zones, industrial parks. There's different names. It's basically all the same thing. However, it's important to note that the in terms of the industries, what is allowed will depend on the country and the government and what their objectives are. In the past, we would have seen a what's called a positive list approach. That is, there's a listing of industries. You know, here are the 10 industries that we want in our zone. Increasingly around the world, and Jamaica has followed suit when it changed its regime from a free zone regime to a special economic zone regime, to have a negative list approach. That is to say, here's a list of what we don't want in the zone, and then, or to benefit from the incentives, and then anything that's not on that list is allowed or allowable in the zone. There are many reasons why a country may pursue a negative list, or why certain things are on a negative list. One of the reasons, and I can tell you, for example, in Jamaica, if a particular industry already has an incentive scheme, you don't wish for double dipping to happen. So, for example, tourism has it's a major driver in the economy of Jamaica. It already had its incentive scheme. Mining, bauxite mining, and alumina refining, had its own incentive scheme. So again, that found itself on the negative list. There also may be tax implications of why you would have particular industries on that list. So, for example, we have a special designated tax class, if you will. I'm not sure if that's the best term, but a certain level of taxpayer within the Jamaican economy called regulated taxpayers. These include banks and telecoms. They actually pay a higher tax rate than the regular corporate income tax. So the regular corporate income tax would be 25%. These regulated entities pay 33 and a third, I believe. So to shift them from paying that to put 12.5%, which is what an occupant or a single entity would pay in Jamaica, would have a dramatic impact on the tax base of the country. In essence, in some ways, in many ways, I should say, erode in the tax base of the country. So that wouldn't have been allowed. And there are many other policy reasons why a government may choose not to include certain industries. Either, it could be environmental. They don't want particular industries in the country based on the other industries that they have. Or there could be that industry, there's the complementarity between the two industries, what they want to attract and what would be allowed in the zone, or what's already there, and such and so forth. So there are different reasons why. For Jamaica, one of the reasons, as I said already, is that if you already had certain industries already had tax incentives or tax incentive regime governing it. There was another reason. At the time, we were under a very stringent, very austere IMF program, and that helped to shape the way the special economic zone regime was put together. But other nations have other constraints, restraints, and have to figure out what works best for them. So thank you. That's the end of the episode. If you found it interesting, please like, share, and subscribe, and also leave a comment or two. Feedback is definitely welcome. Thank you.